people start preparing for IIT in their 8th grades. One of the great things about India is this tremendous interest in education. At a place like Stanford, most students don't choose their majors till their final year. And what matters most is loving what you're doing and trying to do well at it. The thing which still keeps me going is the desire to build products which will be used by billions of users and makes a difference for them. With Google, I've been in a room where I felt, look, these people are better than me at what they're doing. I think it's important to remember there are many, many different ways you can approach things, and what matters most is loving what you're doing and trying to do well.
What is Sundar Pichai like as a leader?
I think
what is your leadership style?
When you're trying to run something at the scale of Google, we have now over 60,000 people, and you rely on other strong leaders. I think a lot of what I do is I have an outstanding leadership team. It's learning to let go and really empowering people, at all levels of the organization, and trusting them to doing the right thing. And as a leader, a lot of your job is to make those people successful. It's less about trying to be successful and more about making sure you have good people, and your work is to remove barriers, remove roadblocks for them so that they can be successful in what they do. Setting up collaborative cultures is another big thing I try to focus on.
So it's not about one person, it's about the team.
That's right. Yeah.
And if your team succeeds, you also succeed with them. What are some of the tips that you would like to share with students out here?
I would really encourage people to, I think there's a lot of pressure in today's system. I get surprised people start preparing for IIT in their 8th grades, and that's a bit shocking to me. I hope as people are approaching things, they are really taking the time to doing things, in a deeper way, understanding things deeper, learning by doing things. And, I think it's important to remember it's a long road. Setbacks actually don't matter. I think a lot of times when I was younger, people would say, this person didn't get into this college or something, and that's the end of the road. I mean, life is so different from that. And so I think it's important to, keep your hopes, keep your dreams, and try to follow them. And I think most of how life plays out is up to you, not up to what happens outside of you. And I think it's important to keep that in mind and take the long-term view.
Technology, as we know, is disrupting everything. It's disrupting education as well, right? Elementary education, even higher education. Today, you can get access to the best courses offered by the best universities in the world online. Sitting where you are, what would you recommend to them? How should they be looking at education? How should they be thinking about education going forward?
I think it's one of the great things about India is this tremendous interest in education. People talk about it all the time. Most parents aspire for this for their children, and so I think it's a great foundation we have as a country. I think education needs to evolve and change, just like with everything else. In my experience growing up here, I think there's a lot of emphasis on spending time on the books and learning things academically.
Yeah.
I think working the real world, I would say it is important to be well-rounded. It's important to try different things. Take some risks. I would encourage people to follow their passions a little bit more. I think one of the for all the great things about the Indian educational system, I think there's a lot of pressure to follow set lanes throughout your career. You're in high school, you're thinking about college. I get very surprised people come to IITs and immediately they are thinking about IIMs and so on.
Yeah,
I think it's important to get real world experience. And if you take the US, for example, at a place like Stanford, most students don't choose their majors till their final year. So people explore different things and find what they're really passionate about. So I think those are all good things to aspire to. I think I would like to see people value creativity, value experience of doing things, taking risks, and academics is important, but it is not as important as it's also made out to be.
You are in a position many of us aspire to be in. So say 10-15 years ago, where did you think you would be here today, and 10 years from now, where do you see yourself in the future?
10-year shifts are really big. Just so you understand, in the 80s, mid-80s, personal computers came into being. 10 years later, the internet came into play. 10 years later, smartphones came into play. So in 10 years, things shift around so much. I'm not sure what I'll be doing in 10 years, but the thing which still keeps me going is the desire to build products which will be used by billions of users and makes a difference for them. Hopefully, I still have a chance to do that 10 years from now.
During your stay at KGP or Stanford, did you ever get that feeling of future insecurity? Like, will I be able to make it? Will I be able to stand out and make a place of my own? Basically, will I get a job? What did you do to cope up then?
Look, I mean, when you work with really good people, what you just described is it's a natural feeling to have. There are definitely at times, I've worked with amazing people at Google. I've been in a room where I felt, look, I mean, these people are better than me at what they're doing. And, in fact, at Google, we talk about this for many, many new people. Sometimes they come into Google and we have a phrase for this. We call this the impostor syndrome. People commonly say, well, I don't belong here because, people around me seem very, very good. And I think any elite institution, I'm sure it's true at IIT here, you're always surrounded by very good people, and I think there are moments when you feel what you just described. Yeah. I think it's natural. If anything, I would say you almost always want to feel that all through your life, because that means you're working with people who are very, very good, and and that's really important. So you always, if you feel very comfortable in what you're doing, I don't think you're pushing yourself enough, and so I think you always want to strive to be in environments where you feel the people around you are a little bit better than you are.
How can we make the most of the 4 or 5 years we spend in the campus? Because there are so many activities and avenues we can actually engage ourselves in.
Hopefully, I remember having a lot of free time, at least when I was at IIT. I guess things have changed. I wouldn't overthink it. The way I would answer these things is, I would do what feels something like you like spending time on, and I would use that as a yardstick and not feel the pressure to do what others are telling you to do, right? And so I think at least my solution, the way I dealt with these things, was try and feel what I really enjoy doing and pursue that. So hopefully that's the way to do it.
What is your feeling? I mean, what do you think? Should students be developing themselves holistically? Should they be spending time on stuff outside the core technical stuff to get a wider perspective?
I think so. I think it's good. I regret not having done it more when I was here. But when you look at the cultural festivals which happen at IITs, or I'm not sure whether you still do the Diya festival during Diwali, and and so things like that are great to get involved in. Yeah. I think anything like that, I mean, doing more things and just getting a more well-rounded experience, I think actually makes a real difference. And to your point around even courses in humanities, writing is an important skill in life. Spending time learning how to write better, all those things end up mattering.